So, how did a burglar, a man throwing up, a birthday all have to do with me understanding my deeper meaning of happiness? Oh, there was an eagle in there somewhere. Well, come find out what kind of a week I had coming up on the Spencer Mark podcast. Hey, welcome again to the show. I had a crazy week this past week. It was full of all sorts of meaning and synchronicities and a lot of oddness. So I just wanted to be able to talk to you about it and catch up now that we're doing things that's more regular here. I'm just going to go ahead and just get right into it. What happened this past Saturday was just beyond out of the ordinary. We usually do something very ordinary, both Adele and I. We go out. Every Saturday morning, we get up first thing. We don't make coffee here. We're pretty much coffee snobs, where we have the disc burr grinder and the special pour over, and we have a whole ritual every morning. So every Saturday, though, we don't do any of that. We get up first thing in the morning and we head on down to Dawson Taylor's downtown Boise. And this is where the old folks hang out. This is like one of the more established coffee shops all around. It's a beautiful morning out on Saturday, so we decide to go out. It's about 7 a.m. We go there and we order our coffee, and we sit in our favorite couch spots, a nice leather couch up by the corner. You get to look outside. We're warming up. It's lovely out. And a nice cup of French roast we're sipping on and discussing our past week. And then we notice a gentleman that comes in. He's very animated. He's very smiley, and he's offering like flyers to people and just talking. I didn't really pay him much mind or attention. But Adele was just kind of tripped out that this guy was around. He's like, I don't know, something's off with that guy. He's stumbling all over the place. Well, not more than 3 seconds after she said that, this guy comes running across the room and he dives into this trash can, and he sticks his head inside of the trash, and he just starts throwing up, like heaving into the trash. I'm like, oh God, that's discerning. Gross. And he pulls his head out. He kind of gets it stuck in the trash, but he pulls it out and he goes outside, and he sits outside in the sun right outside the window where we're sitting, and we're just kind of gobsmacked going, God, did that just really happen? This dude just sitting in his chair, and he just leans over and just starts throwing up, just throwing up, just purging. And we're just you can almost smell it through the window. We're like, do you want to go somewhere else and do anything else? And so I agreed. And we picked up our coffees. We grabbed up Sancho, who usually goes with us, and we decided to head out. Now, this wasn't the only time this happened at Dawson Taylor. A few different times we have drunk people that come in, hang out on the couch, and the nice people at Dawson Taylor don't know really what to do with these folks. But we decided, we kind of had enough. So that was really weird. And so leaving the place, we decided to go. And I had this here. Yeah, so we opened with a man vomiting in a coffee shop. Anyway, so he decided to go try a different spot downtown. Now, it's really hard when you're a coffee snob to find these places, because we like a good dark roast. We like a good atmosphere. We like good chill music and a relaxing vibe, which is all really kind of hard to do in Boise with the coffee shop scene, because if you're a cool coffee shop, then you tend to have only light roast coffee. No one does dark roast. But, we just kind of got to move with it. So we went to another different spot downtown. It was called Necker. It was nice vibe inside there. Had some of their coffee there. It's a nice light roast and a lot of caffeine. So I'm just sitting there and talking with Adele, and the kind of conversations we get into are fairly deep. And something that's come up for me was that I grew up with this understanding that I'm not a happy person. I have moments where I can be happy, but I don't really see myself as a happy person. And she asked me, like, why? What could be the meaning of that? looking into that. And I went into it a little bit deeper into my upbringing, and with my dad was, my dad's someone who's not necessarily a happy person. He has his moments, but growing up was real difficult because what I witnessed was someone that was very, very angry, very bitter, resentful, almost in a lot of ways. To no fault of his own. I mean, that's just kind of his makeup. That's just fine. I mean, it's kind of his choice. Everyone has their choice whether they want to be happy or not. But the thing is that after witnessing that and growing up in that, I just always thought of myself as, related to that, like an asshole. And I never could see myself as someone who lived as a happy person, because I really felt, as weird as this sounds, this is like it's irrational, but I used to think that happiness is some kind of like earned, almost like a genetic thing. And yeah, I just never saw myself. I thought I might have these moments where I could be happy, or if I were, always in shape, I could be happy. My happiness had conditions on it, So if I had more money, I could be happy. If I had the perfect partner, I could be happier. So we were just getting into those conversations just a little bit deeper. And I started thinking that, I really deserve to be happy, and then I really want to work on it. And I was really seen and heard in that spot. We really broke through in a deeper way of she kind of understood me at a deeper level. So that was special. Just knowing that she can understand more, that when I'm upset, it's not a mark on my character. It's just, she started to see how I see myself and my self-image as someone that's typically doesn't see himself as very happy, and that I really want to work and on becoming happiness and becoming that person that's happy and working on happiness, and deciding that happiness isn't a gift, that it is a practice. It's something that you work at each and every day. And it's something that I got to aggressively work towards in developing happiness, and my work with men, and I think really just moving to the ultimate of choosing a happy life. It's not something that you're in the mood for happiness. It's really something you got to work at. So there's this book called Psycho-Cybernetics that has this 8-point practice I just want to be able to share with you here. So number one of this 8-point practice here is, number one is try to be as cheerful as possible. Now, what's interesting here, I'm going to take this logo off. What's interesting here, I think this is really simple, right? And I'll try to be as cheerful as possible. These are practices that you just, I need to work this like a muscle. This is training. What does that mean to be cheerful? I don't think it means to be passively or like programmed to be just happy no matter what, as possible. So maybe my default is just to bring more cheer into a situation, bring to a social situation, to a relationship, to anything that happens in life, to try to be as cheerful as possible. Think about what that looks like for you, so we can begin to like anchor into a feeling. I want to practice this to develop a feeling that I can always go back to, because feelings are powerful. So number one, be as cheerful as possible. So that's one thing I'm working on. Number two, I will try to feel and act a little more friendly towards other people. Now, this has what I'm trying to do is like really just live in the present here and just work on being more friendly. And my basic conditioning has been to be more pessimistic and wary of people. There's always a jerk lurking in the shadows type thing. But as this says, I will try to feel and act more friendly towards other people, whether that's a smile, whether it's saying hello, paying attention to my tone of voice. I want to feel like I'm giving some happiness to another person. So when people see me, they begin to feel that happiness. So number two, I will try to feel and act a little more friendly toward other people. So number 3, I'm going to be a little less critical and a little more tolerant of other people, their faults, failings, and mistakes. And again, that's all based on my interpretation. So I will place the best possible interpretation on their actions. So seeing how these people act, I want to base my tolerance and my opinions of others based on their actions, their well-intentioned actions. So I do want to feel less critical, and I want to feel more optimistic of other people, meaning they have something good to share. And these feelings are going to conjure up just less stress inside my body, less constriction, and I want to be more open and more. I want to have more flow in my life. So I'll be less critical and more tolerant of other people, their faults, failings, and mistakes, and I'll just look out for the best in their situations. So number 4, insofar as possible, I'm going to act as if the successes are inevitable and I already am the sort of person that I want to be. I will practice acting like and feeling like this new personality. Now, the perfect example of this is when I get a six-pack abs, that's when I'll start being happy. When I get the love of my life and I start living with this person, that's when I'll be happy. When I get married, that's when I'll be happy. When I get my dream job, that's when I'll start to be happy. So that's all well and good, but we need to embody this now. So we are going to feel into these successes and act as if it is absolutely impossible to fail, and that you're already the personality you want to be. You are already that personality that you want to be because you're speaking from experience. You're speaking from a knowing. The reason why you want to be something is because you feel that before. You've had it once before in your past. So you want to feel like this new personality. Number 5, I will not let my own opinion color facts in a pessimistic or negative way. And again, opinions are strong these days, but we want to just look at a positive viewpoint for your own sake, for your own feelings of well-being. But I don't want to let my opinion color facts in a pessimistic or negative way. Okay, open them up into a different way. Number 6, I will practice smiling at least 3 times a day. Here we go. Number 1. Number 2, here we go. Plain face, smile. Cheese or not, it's important to smile. Okay, number 3, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There's 3. Practice smiling at least 3 times a day. Intentional. Potentiality. Is that a word? Number 7. Regardless of what happens, I will react as calmly and as intelligently as possible. I think for me, it's when you're calm, you are acting intelligently. When you're calm, you're actually in a different part of your brain, the neocortex, which is rational, which can act with calm, and it can act with intelligence and not reacting out of just some reactionary sense of feeling. So I will react as calmly and as intelligently as possible, so there's no regrets after something happens, after a reaction. Calm, relaxing. And number 8, I will acknowledge, then I'll ignore completely and close my mind to all those pessimistic and negative facts that I can do nothing to change. I've modified this a little bit in that in the book, it talks about wanting to completely ignore and close your mind to pessimistic and negative facts. This is an opinion about yourself and way how you've handled yourself, something in the past. But in understanding shadow work, we want to be able to look towards these things that we deny in ourselves. So it's important to look, don't completely ignore, but we want to get curious and look at these things that we deny in ourselves. Look at those negative and pessimistic things or those viewpoints, because they've helped us before in the past see things in a clear light so we can know how to move in the world. how to pivot from those situations. So I don't think it's important to completely ignore without first acknowledging that. So acknowledge the pessimism and the negativity, and then realize what is there to learn from this, and then move in the other direction. So those are the 8 points of happiness practice. So the work I do is helping men practice happiness, not to chase it, because you can be happy now. You just need to practice it. So if you want a copy of these 8, let me know in the comments and I'll just email them to you. Okay. So in understanding, we're back at the coffee shop and I'm going through the happiness practices with Adele and saying, this is what I want to do. And then we started to really talk about what the anger meant for me, what the pessimism all was. And basically, I'm kind of flubbing up here, but interesting enough, I just want to discuss a little bit about what the anger really was. And then chatting with Adele a little bit after the coffee shop, I think I had way too much caffeine. I went home, and I needed to go and lay down and take a nap. But before I was taking a nap, I was feeling very emotional and just understanding where to put all this information, talking about my dad, talking about my anger, my deserving, whether or not I felt like I deserved happiness. And I just ended up just falling asleep. But before I fell asleep, Adele was asking me, it's like, go to the anger. Like, when you think about the anger, what does it look like? Does it take you to another point in time? So to me, that anger was connected to an inner child, like a protector part looking out after me. And that was different. I didn't see the anger anymore as something that was immature or a mark against my character of who I was. I began to see it as a protector for my inner child, for the times that I was beaten, for the times I was called, all kinds of different names, whether it be at home or at school. We've all dealt through that. And so these emotions come up and we act a certain way to protect our younger parts of ourselves. But I was able to see clearly through Adele's help, what the anger is trying to say. And the anger just really wants to be understood and number one, protect. And reacting out of that, she asked me, like, what's your reaction on that when you feel the anger? It's like I was starting to feel it. I was starting to feel like, why doesn't my family talk to me? I was feeling very angry. Like, what is it that I did that's so bad to that my dad won't talk to me, my brother won't talk to me. My kids now currently are starting to, but there's a lot there, and I was feeling very angry and not understanding, is there what's wrong with me? It's like there's really nothing wrong with me. It's just. Yeah, it's just a difficult situation to talk about sometimes, where this anger comes from. But I started to see it as my anger saying, is like, I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of acceptance. And I'm upset that I'm not getting that validation. So I took that into a deeper nap. When I started to think about, before I started to drift away, I don't know, I started to see the anger as kind of a loyalty thing. The anger was keeping me safe. Oh, another thing too is she asked me, what would you do? Can you imagine like getting this anger out? Do you want to hit him? Do you want, like your dad? Do you want to get any aggression out? And I think it's important to think about those things. Like, how do you want to work that aggression out of your body? How do you want to get it out? So I started to think about it. It's nothing I really need to get out, but I started to think like it. And then we woke up, and after about an hour nap, went for a nice walk and went home, came back home, and then had dinner. But then Then, now here's the story. I was eating, we just finished eating, and Adele goes in the shower to go wash up after dinner, and this guy just walks out of our yard like he owns the place, and he comes rolling out with my bike. And he has like some football and a skateboard in his hand. He starts running off with my bike, and I was like, "What?" My mind just kind of going, "What the heck's going on?" Like, this guy's like stealing from me. So I run out the door, and it's like, "Hey, get back here!" And the guy gets on my bike. He starts running with the bike. He's getting ready to get on it, and I just started chasing after him, chasing after this guy, and I'm starting to catch up on him a little bit, and he slipped up just enough to where I ended up diving on him and tackled him to the ground. I didn't know what the hell's going on, but here I am wrestling on the ground with this guy. You can see I got some marks here of the situation, but guy was stealing. It's like a 30-year-old dude. He was stealing my bike, and something just went over me, and I was on top of him, telling him, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I wanted to like let him go because I got my bike back, and I was thinking of letting him go, and he wouldn't let go of my arm, and I couldn't let him go, but I'm on top of him, and he's trying to wiggle loose, but still holding on my arm at the same time. And he's squirming around, won't stop moving. He's trying to bite me, and I'm on top of him. Then one of my neighbors comes from behind, and she asks, "Are you doing okay? Right? I'm going to call 911. Should I call 911?" I'm like, "Yeah, call 911." Because I don't know if what I started to then realize that this guy, he might have something on him. He might have some kind of weapon. So I'm on the ground. My knees are all getting like tore up, and because I'm in my shorts and just a shirt, and we're in the gravel and wrestling like straight up. I was gonna let him go, but he wouldn't let me go. So I was like, "Okay, let's ride this out. I'm gonna wait for the cops to come." You can hear the sirens. They kept driving by the house. We live at a little half residence, but they just kept missing the alley where we were wrestling. Adele's nowhere to be found. I think she was washing up and just enjoying herself. And I was in the middle of a pretty dangerous situation. And then like all my wrestling moves started coming back to me. I started to understand like, oh, maybe this is why I did this. So I was able to put, he was trying to wiggle away. So I actually ended up snaking one of my legs around one of his and really like hooking him. And then I just allowed kind of my yoga training to take over too, just being calm in the middle of a fight, in the middle of a wrestling adventure there. Just kept breathing, but he kept getting away, trying to get away. And he was slithering around like a snake, and I just wasn't letting him go. And I ended up having to tell him as I was getting tired. It was going on 5 or 6 minutes of wrestling this guy, and he's not saying a word, but I did end up whispering in his ear, like I said, "I am stronger than you. Stop moving. The cops are coming. Stop moving." He wouldn't stop moving. So I had to take his air a little bit, I kept arm barring him the whole time so he couldn't grab something. I don't know what he was grabbing for, but it was a very surreal moment, just hearing the breath bellow off of the ground and the dust in our face, and just straight up fighting, not really fighting. I mean, I didn't hurt the guy. I was just trying to restrain him. And then finally the cops decided were there and started coming down. And one of the officers came down, and before I said, "Oh, phew, some relief," because this has gone on 6-7 minutes. The cop says, "Okay, just stay on him. Looks like you got him. I'm going to call this in, tell the guys where we're at." I'm like, "Oh God, dude, seriously, give me a little bit of, I'm tagging out here. I've had it. I'm tired." Finally, the rest of the police came. They get on the guy and cuff him. And so after that, I was talking with the officer, and he said, he needed to fill out a report, so to go get my driver's license. So I went and grabbed my driver's license inside the house, and I was telling Adele when she was still cleaning up, I was like, "You're missing everything. Like there's so much happening right now. When you get ready, come on out. Well, a little later, she came out to see cops all over the place, and the neighbors were all outside. Come to find out, this guy was jumping in from yard to yard just recently, and I don't know if he was on drugs or something, but he was assaulting two young girls. Attempted assault with a big piece of wood. These ladies caught him stealing, and he charged after them with some wood and was swinging and his big stick at them and chasing them. So they had to run away. And that's when they called 911 about that earlier. But this was the same guy. So it turns out this guy wasn't just stealing my bike. This was assaulting young, like teenagers throughout the neighborhood. So I actually made a citizen's arrest. And so same with the girls too. My neighbors they got to make a citizen's arrest too on this guy. But it took 5 cops to restrain this fella. I'm not saying that just as a brag, but everybody was on this guy. I mean, he just would not stop squirming, slithering around like a snake. He just wouldn't stop moving. But they got him wrapped up, and they got him all bound up, put him in the back of the cop car. A little bit later, he got out of the cop car and was starting to run away again, and the cops tackled him down and then put him in restraints and then put him back in the car. Anyway, it was all very surreal, all very weird. I got up off of that guy when I got done tackling him, and I'm all wrecked up on my arms and my elbows, and my glute like was on fire. I think I'd landed on it when I tackled the guy. So there was a lot of emotions happening there, a lot going on. So yeah, it was my first time making a citizen's arrest and capturing a burglar over my bike. It's my inner Pee Wee Herman, not letting somebody steal my bike. So it was interesting though, when I look back on that. It's like it didn't freeze at that time. I was just called to just run after them. It's like, hey, just come back with my property. But I ended up using a lot of my strength just to kind of restrain them, not to punish them, So that's, I have to look at the deeper meanings of all this and the synchronicity involved in that. Like, what did that mean? So, and I'm reminded of this story of how Mexico City was made. It was one of the chieftains of the Aztecs were telling a group of settlers there, is looking to settle a city. It's like, when you come across an eagle eating a serpent, that's where you need to build a city. And settlers moving across this marsh later on witnessed an eagle eating a snake out of this tall cacti, and that's where they built Mexico City. That's the tale. So it made me think of this man that was stole and was assaulting in our neighborhood. Now he was moving around like a snake as well. I don't know. And just to me, I was just like looking at that type of story. It's like, that's where my definition or my images of myself started to change. And in looking at that, I started to realize is that this was an outlet for my healthy anger, for some aggressive feelings. I was able to get some things out. Like, I saw a purpose and a reason for this. There's still a lot of things that I'm processing about it. My neighbors came just yesterday, and they wrote me a really nice card. Because their daughter was, pretty traumatized by it. And they left me a nice bag of coffee from Broadcast Coffee downtown, dark roast. They knew about it and in full bean form. I just thought it was just really so kind and so nice. And a nice thank you card, and it was just so affirming. And this is what success was starting to feel like for me. So besides what happened, instead of just telling you what happened, and I think what's most important is how I feel, is how I felt. And that's a moment I don't want to let go of. And it's a moment that I'll always remember. I can go back and I can begin to feel the feeling of having success. This is what we want to conjure in you. This is what I want to see in you more, is conjuring up these feelings of success to go back and to feel it. So it was just like this moment where I just really took command of myself. So this was super intense. It was like this driven divine thing that was happening. And I was it was about justice. It was about doing what was right. I didn't have these thoughts before I did it. When I did it, swooped down and grabbed this guy and staked my place. So it was taking command of myself. Earlier this week, it was just this past Friday. For those that might have kind of known this, as I've been dreading my corporate job. I couldn't stand it any longer. But it was 2 weeks ago, I put in my 2 weeks notice, and it was my last day this past Friday. So I quit my job, and without no regrets. And so now you're listening to me talking on this podcast because I have time to talk about it. You're talking to a full-time entrepreneur now. This is me stepping forward into the life that I want. And I'm tired of living someone else's life that I don't want. I want to do meaningful work, working with men, helping them realize their happiness, realize their well-being, and help them to cultivate practices that contribute to their best life. There's a lot of guys out there that have, I have an accountant guy, I have an insurance guy, I have, a lawyer guy. When I have, a good feeling guy, like a guy, a coach, a consultant that works with me. It's a guy that works with me on my well-being. So I'm done with the safety of living safely, because that was misery for me. I'm moving towards purpose, and I'm making bold moves towards the purpose, towards my purpose. And it's important that I share that with you, that I am now living as a man who's taking control of his life. We'll have to see where this goes, and I got to trust my instincts, and that's why I'm here chatting about me in the best way I know how, and trying to bring value in speaking to you and telling you my story. And I'm getting better at it. I got to work on it, but I'm getting better on it. But I quit my job to live the life that I want to live. And I want to empower you to do whatever you got to do in order to start living your life. It doesn't mean you have to quit your job if you don't want to, but you got to start claiming that life that you want. You deserve it, because how much time do you have? So back out a little further. At the beginning of it was like 7 days ago. It was on a Sunday. I went and hung out with my best friend and my brother, Ta. And we went and had a camping trip. He wanted to go camping out in the woods next to water. That's what he knew. We found this spot up in the Cascade area where a friend of Ta told him where to go. And so there was just like 7 of us that went there. And I just stayed just for a night. And there was a fire. And right next to this lake, when I first got there, I visited with Ta and talking to him. And it was just so good to talk with old friends. It was just a few of us. And I rolled out my yoga mat. It was right at sunset and dusk, and there's still steam coming through the trees. It was just a very beautiful setting, like these stumps coming out of the calm water. And I just set up my yoga mat. I just did some stretching, bringing in the peace. It was just really a lot of stillness happening too, and a lot of contentment that I was feeling. I was feeling very relaxed. It's a good feeling to tie into. Afterwards, I decided to go paddleboarding. One of Ta's friends brought a paddleboard. I went out on the lake, and I just started to I'm not good at standing up on a paddleboard. I just squatted on it and just rode and soaked up those feelings of hearing the paddle going into the water, hearing the drips drip off of the paddle, taking in the stillness and just moving myself through the water, witnessing the trees, taking in the blue sky, kind of the coolness of the evening upcoming, and just being at one, just being present. I was so happy, so calm, and came back to shore, had a little bit of dinner, sitting around the fire, and just started telling stories and just talking and chatting and being present. with a bunch of other fun guys, and just staying up, telling stories, being in the fire. Not we were in the fire, but we were surrounded by the fire. No, we weren't surrounded. We surrounded the fire. That's what happened. Before you know it, daylight started coming up, and dawn started happening. And it's just one of those nights where you stay up and you witness a sunrise. And before the sun came up, we're all around the fire warming up. And I decided to just kind of walk away from the rest of the crowd and just to stand by the water. The water, it's so still. You can feel like this deadening silence, when you're in nature. I could see the steam coming off the water and the fog through the trees, and the sky was really pink where the sunrise was coming up. The clouds were shot across the sky and scattered, and just real beautiful. So the blue tucked against the pink clouds. And as I'm by the shoreline, this big tall tree right next to me, this giant bald eagle flies out just like 10 feet away from me, swoops down right in front of me and swims or soars out over the water and starts flapping towards the sunrise. It's completely by myself. And it was like, it was like God like slapped me right in the face saying, hey, I'm right here this whole time. And my mouth is just agape. I've seen, maybe I count on one hand how many bald eagles I've seen. And seeing that, when I saw that, right before I saw it, I was just feeling that contentment, feeling my sovereignty, feeling my freedom, knowing that I'm done with my job. And I'm going to live the life that I want to live, and I deserve it. And then witnessing that eagle come out of the tree, out of the top of a tree, and then flying off right in front of me, and then flying off into the sunrise, it was just so symbolic for me that my sovereignty it's a dawning of my sovereignty, of the life that I want to live. And I can bring that eagle energy about me. And at that moment, it was really, the eagle meant something more to me than just a symbol of America, of America. It was more like this Native American feeling for me, being what a gift nature brought me to witness this eagle, this bald eagle, flying towards the sunrise. And it was just like this confirmation that happened for me. So I'm taking that feeling in to my venture. It was so special for me. And when I look back on everything now and seeing what this all meant, I've been taking this eagle energy all the way through, not chasing, but just beginning to soar. And this is the type of energy that tackled the would-be, perpetrator and burglar. And it was extremely interesting how this has happened. So this podcast is my new flight as well. It's my goal to bring consistency here. It's my goal to bring originality and, most importantly, authenticity. And I want to be able to speak to you authentically without a script. I'm tired of scripts, tired of reading as if I'm talking to a script. And it's my goal to get really good at just chatting, breathing, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, and telling a story. Speaking from a place of calm and offering something up. Perhaps this is something that could be useful for you. But I want to continue to practice. And I want to be able to show up daily and to be okay with the comfortable silences. Be comfortable with the silences, I should say. Not worried about screwing up or saying the wrong thing. Just wanting to be me in front of you. So from now on, it's just like having some bullets to kind of riff on and speak on, and letting go of this idea of needing to be perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I just want to be. I want to be me. So this is what this is about. Real stories. And this I felt was a real initiation. So here we are at the end here, and I want to direct you towards something I'm really excited about. Something that I built. It's a GPT that I actually built um, based on it's a tool to help you and understand like where your energy is leaking. You know, most most importantly, it's important to know like how we want to show up in the world. A lot of times we think of things or ways we don't want to show up, but we're very unclear on how we do want to show up and how we want to look, how we want to feel, how we want to act and behave. So what this tool does is it takes you through a step-by-step process to really identify where you're at now and where you want to be, carving out an identity for yourself, carving out what a metabolism looks like for you, healthy metabolism. It doesn't have to come just from food. It's just like how you're taking in energy from the world and how you're giving that back. Cultivating a greater awareness of where you're at currently with what's draining your energy, what fills you up, and then starting to generate more gratitude into your life, and then really working on, and the last part is executing a plan. So what this is an absolutely free map for you to find out where your energy is leaking, where to build energy in places where you want it, so that you become clear and see that person that's inside you and that person that you want to become. And you need to feel into that. I want to make this as tangible as possible, as I tried to make this as to where it conjures feeling in you. So it gets specific. So the link is inside of the description. You go to my site, and you fill out a name and an email, because when you're on the email list, I'm going to give value when it comes to like your well-being, articles, tips, ideas. We're going to work together for free. And this map is going to give you a starting point. It's not going to be a cure-all for everything that's wrong in your life, but it's going to help you understand where you're at and where you want to go. And that's what's so important. You need to be specific. When you work on Google Maps, you have to have a destination, or else your map's just going to lead you in circles, right? So it's kind of crazy to think about. We think we want to end up somewhere, but we never allow ourselves the privilege of or the necessity of being specific on where we want to go. So that's what this is going to do, is help you get specific on where you're at and where you want to go. Link is in the description. I also have some videos inside there that will help you understand how to use the metabolic mindset map. Again, it'll take you to a GPT that I've built. You can do that ChatGPT for free, of course, and you can just go through the metabolic mindset map. And here is here's that link for that is in the description. Of course, you just need to click it, but this is where it's at: spencermark.co/metabolic mindset map. And then you can start. And I'm curious to know what that comes up with. After you take, it's about 10 minutes is all it will take. Be descriptive with your answers. You can be as descriptive or as simple as possible. After you get your map, if you're curious about moving forward, you can set up a free call. It's a free 30-minute call with me to where we interpret what the map was telling you, and we get a little bit more specific on where you want to go. But it's a free coaching session to you. I want to find out what pain points you're dealing with right now, what's getting in your way, because that really helps me understand, the plight or the challenges of men, and that's what I really want to work with you on. So again, not only you're going to get a free map, you're going to get a free coaching session on that if you so choose to do that. So again, click the link. Let's get going on that. And I can't wait to work with you on it. And thank you for being here so that I can share my crazy week. Happy to talk with you on it some more. But thank you again for being here. Have a great day.